Good day, friends. So there's a concept of the suspected adulteress, and we're picking up on the idea of the truth or transparency, what that really means. There was a section in the Zohar that dealt with this in the weekly portion that deals with an adulteress who is suspected by her husband of committing an adultery. So apparently what needed to happen was that she was brought to the priest, to the high priest at the time, and he would immerse a piece of parchment with the holy name, the tetragrammaton written on it, into some water, and he would give the woman to drink, and that was called the test of the adulteress. Now, if she was innocent, she would be blessed and become pregnant and give birth to a child, a male child. If she was guilty of her suspected crime, she would die. She would die. So the obvious question here is, how can the same water with the holy name dipped inside be dangerous or be poisonous and kill a person? Understandable maybe how it could bless a person, but how could the same thing kill a person? And so there's three ideas here that I would like to touch upon. First off is that idea. How is it possible for the same thing to be good and bad, especially the Creator's light, or what is representative of the Creator's light? How could that be good for one woman and bad for the other woman? The second idea would be, well, how can you even erase? There's a rule in Kabbalah or in Judaism, which are the tools that facilitate Kabbalah, Kabbalistic teachings, which say that you're not allowed, it's not permissible, it's forbidden to erase the holy name. Yet, the high priest himself was taking the parchment and dissolving the ink in water, which is an erasure of the holy name. Not allowed to do that. How was he permitted to do that? And the third step, of course, would be using spiritual words, text, sayings, even Bible or whatever, to justify our own actions or to justify our own agendas. So we come to a section in the Zohar that discusses this idea of the adulteress. And again, she was to be tested by the high priest. And I'm going to just read from the text of the Zohar. It says, Ki habdika hasota haita shehishlich shem bechinat din de man'ula shehu sod ktivat havaya lemifra v'na'avra b'havaya diyoshe shehu sod bina asher im haita dvuka be'eshet znunim lo היה המנעולה מתערב בבינה ולא נמתק בה. ואז היו אורות הרחמים מסתלקים והדין המנעולה פועל בה. ואז צוותה בטנה ונפלה ירחה. ואם לא, סטתה תחת בעלה והייתה דבוקה באשת חיל, או אז נמתק המנעולה בבינה ונגנזה, והמפתח נגלה ושלח ואז ונקנה בזרעה זרע. A complicated explanation, but what does it actually say? The intensity of that energy of the holy name being immersed in that water has to have a place to be, has to have something to connect to. Now, when we do something that we shouldn't do, when we lie, if we stole, or if we cheat, energy that comes in cannot attach to the good place of us. There's no place for it to be. the rule is energy must always have an affinity, just like everything else. We know the rule is similarity is what connects. So if you want light, if we want positive energy in our life, we have to act in a positive way. We need to hang around positive people. And when we're feeling positive, we'll also be drawn to more positive people. If we're feeling positive, the tendency isn't to go right away to a bunch of negative people or to a mob. It's not how it works. So this test that this suspected, and that's what it's called, the suspected adulteress would have to go through, was she was given a very high level of energy. She was given a very high force of spiritual energy to see what? To check what? If it had a place to be. If there was any type of vessel to be, or was it locked away? And that's what they call man'ula. It's a place of a lock. It's locked down. To in order to encompass positive energy, we have to have an opening for positive energy. And that's why we would notice sometimes we're drawn into negativity. When we have negativity here, we're drawn into negativity. When we have positivity here, we're drawn into positivity. If she was, however, innocent, meaning that she had a place for that energy to rest, so the energy now became a blessing. So, again, the review. If she didn't have a place for the energy to be, and she would ingest this high energy, she had no place for it to be, this energy would become a force of negativity, a shock treatment, a death treatment. On the other hand, that's like putting the finger in the socket. Energy comes in, but there's no place to be. It creates a shock and damage. But if she had a place for it to be, if she had the resistance in place, because she was innocent of her action, the action that she was accused of, and she was innocent, so that energy, that very same energy, would create blessing for her. That would create blessing for her. So that's the first very important lesson. The second very important lesson, which is, well, how could the priest erase the holy name in the water? And the answer the sages give, which I think I've always felt is a very, very beautiful idea. For every rule that Judaism gives, and that the rules give, there's always an exception to the rule. And the exception here is based on the Creator's desire to bring unity among people, specifically among couples. How important it is, the unity that the Creator would like to exist between couples, because unity between couples creates everything. It creates sustenance, it creates blessing, it creates positivity for children. A lot of couples think that they can raise their children on their own as a couple, and that's really not true, because the energy that children emanate from the energy that comes out from the parents. So if there's no synergy, harmony between them, children don't get very good vibe. No matter what you teach them on the 1%, the 99%, something could be rotten inside, and they won't benefit from that. So the way to properly raise children is first to properly raise parents, ourselves first. And then the children can benefit from that first. 1% is 1%. That's the 99% of it. So that second idea is only by virtue of the Creator's desire to bring harmony between couples, between people, between couples in this case, He permits, the exception is, He permits even to that degree that the Creator's name could be erased for the purpose, because of the love of the Creator, to bring unity between couples. And now the third idea. What's the third idea? The third idea is how, again, the Talmud says that the Torah, or any words that we feel could be true, or from people that we trust, that we use to our own agenda, for our own means. I remember years ago, sometimes we would innocently do that and say, well, our teacher said this or our teacher said like that, but of course just to strengthen our own words or to satisfy our own agenda or something that we would like to do. Of course, we all do it in different ways. When we need a little extra support to justify, shall we say, justify our own agenda, we may take words, known words of other scholars, or known words of people that we know, or people that the people who we're talking to know, in order just to justify our words. But that's not necessarily that coming from the place of our soul, or a true sharing desire, or a universal desire, what's really good for the whole. So therefore we need to ask the question, is that I'm doing that, why do I need to say it? It's just because it's good for me? Because we know the rule is if it's just good for me, it's not going to be good for anyone, least of all me. And if it's really good for other people, then of course it also will definitely be good for me. Because in the reality world, we're all connected. On the soul level, we know we are all connected. So it's not possible for us to do something which is truly good for someone else, that it not be good for us. But if it's not really good for them, and it's not really good for their soul, it will never be good for us, and that's why we need to keep doing this process over and over again. We also go through those same situations over and over again because we still didn't get it right yet. So let's review. What are the lessons? Very important lessons that the portion taught us. Number one, the importance of transparency and the importance of truth. Why? Because the Torah will seek out the truth. Sooner or later, light will come in. And eventually, especially if we are working on ourselves spiritually, truth always tends to come out. Especially when we're working on ourselves spiritually. Why? Because when a person has zero interest in working spiritually, their life will in some way be easier. There's less pressure. There's less stress. Imagine being watched, if you have a spiritual teacher or mentor, imagine being watched by them all the time. You can't always do exactly what you want to do. You can't always do it the way you would like to do it. So life is a bit harder. There's more pressure. It's more stressful in a way. The rewards are greater, of course. And you can sleep at night. You can live with yourself. The criminal, or when we just, feel it's okay to do whatever we want to do, we can sleep at night. Nobody to stand over our shoulder. But on the soul level, we're suffering. And eventually, when that energy comes from somewhere, it will eventually have its effect. So let's hear what the Zohar has to say in the continuation of this idea, because the truth is, he's not speaking here only about an adulterous story, a suspected adulterous story. He's really talking about all of us, all the time. And what he's saying here is, "Ke'en ze ya'aseh lenasot Yisrael b'gula achrona." Said, in the end of days, which we are in the final generations, the Israelite will be tested in this way. Israelite, keep in mind, doesn't mean a religion, but Israelite rather means those who are truly working on themselves spiritually, just like Jacob transformed from Yaakov, to Israel after he overcame the negative inclination represented by the angel of his brother Esau. When he overcame it, he became known as Israel. So Israel, it doesn't relate to Jews or Jewish people specifically. It relates to all those individuals who are committed to bettering, to working spiritually, to committed to transformation. That's the real hidden meaning, if you will, of the name or the meaning of Israel. So the Zohar is saying that Israel, which means those people, will be tested. Why to test people who won't even make a difference if you test them or not? But to those people, that's the way the person will be tested. Bigula, in the final portion of the exile. Which means, again, those who really want to work spiritually, when energy comes, and energy means spirituality, there's a lot of spirituality available. Of course, in the past 20 years, more than ever before, one would ask why. Why are all these things being revealed now, spirituality? They've been around since day one. But much more and more and more people are becoming more part of spirituality, having more interest in spirituality. And the simple reason is because that's the time. The generations that we're in is a time for revelation of spiritual light. But the more spiritual light and energy is revealed, for better, for worse, if we have some dirt, which we all have, some of that dirt that we may be hiding, that energy is going to flush it out and push us in a direction of cleansing it away, so that we're able to accept more of that energy the universe wants to give us, but for whatever reason we're not able to accept because we have those blockages. And that's the direction. That's a direction for all of us that we need to understand. It's an important message, because when we come to those crossroads that we always do, and sometimes we think, well, no one's going to know, no one will ever find out, whatever we're up to, or we may be up to something. But eventually, again, we have an expression, the light is in the business, meaning that the universe is always there and always watching and always wants to give. And without even knowing it, sometimes when we ask for more, we want more action in our life, more money in our life, more whatever. That's all fine and good. But without realizing it, whenever we ask for more, we get more. And we may not understand that getting more also means more responsibility. Getting more means, well, if you want more, you're going to have to do X, Y, Z. You're going to have to earn this. You're going to have to cleanse this. And so that requires work. So when we ask for more, we should just keep in mind, we're also asking for more work. Not that it won't be worth it. But still, more doesn't mean, oh, God, give me the lottery. That's not really getting more. And for some people, no, that's a curse. So that's not the truth of getting more. The truth of getting more is that we also have to expand ourselves to be able to handle more. But I can rest assured, the moment we are ready and capable to handle the more that we ask for, we shall receive it. We shall receive it.